I won't say there's a place on earth that would ever present freedom for me, because you would get to that place, you would experience it, and in the next moment you would think by yourself, that would be a great hiding place, or yeah, this can happen, no one will see. There's a lot of things that would come up then. The moment that you say you've got fear inside of you, then anything can happen. You open all doors, so anything that you're afraid of, or it starts as an idea in your mind, and then it starts growing, and then you start speaking it, and then it happens.
My feeling of hope makes it almost impossible to move to that side of living in fear. And when I'm confronted with fear and things like that, I revert to what I believe.
I was still in school and I dreamed this house, how it would look, how I was sitting upstairs looking down at the open plan and all the rooms and everything, how it would look like, with no burglar bars, no fence. It was an open house. We've got radio contact with each other, all the houses, and if someone hears something, they would radio. So you know that they were watching the house, they were also sitting in the bush. And me alone as a woman, no, I don't think I would even go and walk in a public street alone. Sometimes the men would go out, start driving around, so you can get the sense of feeling trapped.
She doesn't like to walk from the TV room to the sitting room or to the kitchen alone. And it's now a few months she's sleeping in her own room again. If you're going at night to other places, you've got the feeling of looking over your shoulder, you know. You're not enjoying actually the stuff you enjoyed anymore, you know, because, I mean, we're living in South Africa, we're not going away, and I think you just have, on your own way, make it safer for yourself.
I'm just putting colours on. I have nothing in my mind at all. I'm thinking as I'm going on while I'm painting. Once the colour is there, you can't take it away again. Can't remember coming across a crocodile in a folk tale. I've come across monsters. See, that is what's so beautiful in these fairy tales, where you have these people that are turned into animals through enchantment. And it's a question of whether that animal nature gets the better of us, or whether one can meet it and overcome it. I could bring in a crocodile. Why not? Why shouldn't I bring in a crocodile?
This is a story about crocodiles that settled here a long time ago. From the beginning, they were hostile to all the other animals, and all the other animals were hostile to them. Yet, hostility was nothing new in this land. Fear ruled like never before.
Apartheid started in South Africa officially by request of the Dutch Reformed Church. I mean, it's a fact of history, we can't deny it. And I grew up Dutch Reformed, and part of the problem is language. One of the reasons why you would have only a white community is because they want to have their services in Afrikaans, which is not wrong, not at all. But apart from that, Many of these people are living in fear. They feel pushed aside. I'm speaking of the Afrikaans-speaking people specifically. And so the political feeling mixes in with the church feeling, and the church is seen as the last place of safety for us. So we keep out other people who are not part of us, if I can put it that way. The people were afraid that the political changes and things would take away the church from them. The church as they know it, as a last place of refuge for them. That lies in the hearts of people. So they don't want the church to change because it's the one thing that does not change, or they hope so, but it doesn't work. Church is changing all the time. Traditionally, the people who came out here always had the feeling that they're in control. They're the bosses. That's a very important fact. If you read all the histories of all the European people who came out, they sort of were in control, and they want to be in control and still be in control. And that has changed totally at the moment. That is one of the reasons why there is this resistance. My life, I don't have control in the sense of the olden days. And I feel I don't know where I'm going. I'm not in control. I am being controlled. We've been living like that for years and years and years. That's the way we live. And frequently I've become very sorrowful about this through all these years, because I was always thinking, how much do my own people, my own white people, miss? How much do they miss?
It's as though they've got this hatred in their eyes for us. Maybe it's because of the past, the past history of South Africa. It must be that, I'm sure.
There's no black people in the school that she is now, so no. But I think that she would always have this question of, are they good or are they bad?
As soon as something as horrible as like this happens to you, that's what you fear. I don't fear white people. I don't fear white people, Indians, Asians, but black people. It sounds horrible. Really, it sounds horrible. It's not all of them that's that bad. It's 1 or 2 or 3 or 10 or 10,000. But now there's 30 million of them. Now you fear all 30 million because you classify all of them under the same.
How do you teach a little child in South Africa not to be afraid of, other nations, and especially black people? And the color thing has been so emphasized in our history and in our country that black and white is a reality whether you like it or not.
Violet is one color you can use for fear, to express fear. Violet has also to do with Saturn. It's also a holy color. Or lilac is more. You wouldn't use black. That's my crocodile. I think a crocodile is treacherous. He's sly. He lies in the water, and all you see is his eye, perhaps.
Because of the rural outlay, people are so vulnerable. Even if they if there is a farm attack or a house break or whatever, I mean, he can't run out his front door and shout to the neighbour, come and help me, because there is no one there. The neighbour's not going to hear him because he's half a kilometre away or a kilometre away, or whatever the fact may be. Basically, in the daytime, you're installing a security system and you're monitoring, you're connecting it to a control centre, and then should an alarm or a panic occur at that premises, then you're basically either dispatching a vehicle to the premises, or you yourself is going out to assist with that emergency situation.
You think you're going home to your safe, private environment, but actually it's not so safe and it's not so private because somebody else is watching you the whole time, but you don't know it.
The one attack that we had was an old lady of 60 years old. Took her, put the bath full of boiling water, put her feet in there. She wouldn't say anything or tell them where the keys were. They took an iron, burnt her, they raped her, and eventually they killed her. And all they took then was a City Golf, an old 1985 City Golf. We were basically balancing on a fence. You can fall either way. Crime is picking up. Times are getting harder. It's going to get a lot worse. It's not can get a lot worse. It's going to get a lot worse.
The name Rustenburg is translated as Town of Rest. Nestled at the foothills of the Magalies mountain range, Rustenburg is an area rich in wildlife and scenic splendour. The Waterkloof Hill family can enjoy an abundance of indoor and outdoor activities in the form of various recreational facilities around the estate.
A very valuable proposition in the property industry in South Africa, the fact that these golf estates have been popping up all over the country. To a large extent, you don't have a choice anymore. Unless you can really afford to have good security, and maybe you're younger in age. But I think especially the older people, they prefer moving into these gated communities and prefer the lock-up and go scenario.
Just book me a job card for NIC, please.
And Max.
Received, I will do so.
And Max Reed. Every 30 or 60 seconds there's some farm attack or house robbery or rape or something to that effect. So to us, it's not news anymore.
You've got your fence, you've got your alarm system. Now they can't get to you at the house, now they wait for you in the road. If they want to get to you, then they will get to you.
There's normally a syndicate that is moved into an area, and what they normally do is get local farm workers to watch a house. If they see that that house is an easy target, then what this spy will basically do is say to them, right, I will mark via either bottles or rocks or twigs or plastic bags tied onto fences, but your last marker will be the marker to say, right, the persons are at home, or it's a safe hit, or it's not a safe hit. Or you will get assistance from inside, one of the maid or the gardener or whatever it is. Instead of being scared and crawling up into a little corner and saying, I'm scared now, use that and say, right, I'm afraid, but why am I afraid? All right, there could be somebody waiting around that corner. Right, expect somebody coming around that corner.
The scariest part of this is he had a dream. And this is maybe people won't believe me, but he had a dream that we were in the shop. We were being robbed and that he came in to help. And precisely as it happened, being shot, he said he could literally see me holding him and he could see this scenario and he was screaming for me, but he couldn't, nobody was hearing him. And I still told him, you know what, it's just a dream. Dreams doesn't mean anything.
We had just finished eating. The twins were already in bed. I put each one of them into their own rooms. And my eldest son, Divan, he was watching Barney at the television. So we were in the kitchen and I was just tidying up everything that we had eaten. And I took a plate with the bones for the dogs. And that was about 7 o'clock at night. When I walked to the front door and I barely touched the door to open it, then a person, a black male, he opened the door further and he was standing in front of me. He had a gun in his hand. He was pointing that towards my face. And at that time, I think everything just froze. You feel very powerless when they enter. You know that it was your turn now to be attacked. I was in the corner. At that point, I had all 3 babies on top of me, on my lap. Dewald was lying in front of me. He was lying on his side. My father-in-law was then next to me and my mother-in-law next to him. And so they were all lying face down with their hands and their feet tied with wire. I think because I opened the door, everything was fine, everything was safe, and I went and I opened the door. You feel bad about that, you let them in. But also seeing out of the darkness that person coming towards you, that was the thing that frightened me the most, that kept me up at night. Your body goes cold, you can't move. It's a terrible feeling. And of course the children started getting the same kind of fear.
That really, the way that I can't put this I can't put it in over 2 words because it's something that you can't explain to nobody. You know, at nights I couldn't close my eyes because I heard that. I heard the sound that he made before he blew out his last breath. That was something that stayed with me, and I still, now just thinking of it, I can still hear the sound. This black guy came in, and he walked in and walked past my mom and my dad. And there was just a counter in between him and my mom, and he had a gun on him. 3 other guys came in, and they came into the back side of the shop. They kept a gun to my dad's head, and then the one guy started slapping my mom. And then they said they wanted the money. I heard the shot. One of the people that worked for us, one of the blacks, that wasn't in the shop, just came running and screaming, "Please, madam, come, somebody's dying. Please, madam, come, somebody's dying." And the thing is, I couldn't help him. He was literally choking in his own blood. That's the noise that he was making, because he was choking in his own blood. And I knew I could do nothing even to give him some air. I tried. My whole mouth and face was full of blood, because that was the first, I did try to, because I couldn't breathe, I tried to give him oxygen. I couldn't go to the shop after my husband was killed. I couldn't go into the shop. I had this fear of something happening again.
It's so heartbreaking to have to leave all this behind. I don't find that very easy, but I have to do it. Well, I don't feel safe at the moment. I don't feel safe at all. My trust in my safety is gone. So at the moment, it may change, but at the moment I don't feel I can go and sleep now there and think that maybe they will come in again, because it can happen. I suppose you're wondering what I'm doing, yeah? And my doggy? Here you are. You're all wondering what I'm doing. So that doesn't help to bring about trust, but I have worked very hard at that to try to break that, to overcome that. That is the only thing I have left from my father. And that coat is to hang.
No one should leave his/her secure home at night to investigate any noise. Do not leave the safety of your home. If the noise persists, the correct course of action is to call on your immediate neighbors. Our radio system specifically installed in our homes to communicate with each other in times of need. Events of morning, Sunday, 12th April 2009. It is alleged Marguerite woke up at approximately 1:30 with the dogs barking continuously outside in the garden.
And I saw two men walking through the garden. And I said that to Christine on the radio. I said there were two men walking through the garden. And then there was this lull between the barking and the quiet moments, and then the barking and the quiet moments and the barking and quiet. And that made me extremely nervous.
The dogs stopped barking and Marguerite assumes the dogs have been poisoned.
And then the window broke and I screamed. I screamed as they came into the room. They rushed towards me and then they grabbed hold of me. And they turned me around, they pushed me around like that. And then I don't know how they got me to my bed, but they got me there. And then they grabbed the cell phone out of my hand and they said, "Waar's jou geld?" So I said, "Well, I have to get it for you. It's in my bag." They took the money and they dropped the purse and then they grabbed me by the hair, threw me on the bed and left, and must have taken the laptop on the way out.
At approximately 0600, the Rustenburg SAPS dog unit arrives at the crime scene. The 4 Boons police constables leave the crime scene.
And the area is too big. You find that sometimes when somebody calls, the vehicle is on the other side of the area, of which it might take 2 to 3 or 20 to 45 minutes to come back to you. But what we say is, whenever we've got chance to come and assist you, as soon as possible we'll be there.
And we appreciate that. But if they come out to a crime scene, what actually can they do? Because there are people like us. They can only come there and see what's going on. If you shoot him also, don't aim to kill him.
Yeah.
Just wound him, if you can.
At no time may any of us take the law into our own hands. It is the responsibility of SAPS to deal with any criminal issues. It is our responsibility as a community to assist SAPS wherever possible to make their jobs easier.
The fears and the conversation that goes around the fears, again, whether real or imaginary, is part of the culture or part of the mythology of the country itself. So it's a way that people relate to each other. In some countries, when people get together, they spend a lot of time talking about the weather or the schooling or the food. In this country, people talk a lot about fears. And, it's hard to distinguish, what's a real fear and what's an imaginary fear. The consequence is that people become more insular, more insecure, more anxious. So, in fact, this sensibility feeds on itself. So the more you hide, the more you need to hide. And you can't get out of this syndrome. And that's what's actually happened here in a lot of cases, is that it just leads to a further sickness or the disease just continues to spread until it gets to the roots of the soul, to the bottom of the person's personality, and they become immobilized in terms of their own growth and their ability to expand their own consciousnesses.
Unfortunately, the true reality of it is only the rich that can afford it. But like anywhere else in the world, it's a capitalist market, and unfortunately that's the way it is.
Signature 18-hole world-class championship golf course, driving range, golf academy, pool, tennis courts, walk and cycle paths, bird watching and fishing. Indoor amenities include clubhouse, gym, health spa, pool, play area and kiddies club, coffee shop, restaurant, entertainment area and pro shop. The estate's walled perimeter is equipped with 24-hour guarded patrol. State-of-the-art technology is installed at all controlled access points, providing residents with total peace of mind. Safety and security is the very essence of estate living, and Waterkloof Hill is no exception.
I think South Africa, we've turned the corner, and our crime is busy coming down the statistics, and hopefully South Africa will be one of the few places that you can go to in 10 years' time and not have all the problems that you find in all the first world countries. You get on your golf cart, you go to the clubhouse, and there's 10 of your friends, either watching rugby together or having a beer or about to tee off for golf, and come and have a drink, come and sit down, let's have something to eat quickly. I mean, the lifestyle is just phenomenal. And you go to the gym, all your friends are there. And your friends are really the people that live next door to you. And when our parents grew up, that was what it was all about. Your neighbor was your friend. Today, you and I don't know even who our neighbors are, if you think about it. So it's part of bringing that sense of community and that sense of longing and those friendships back into the house.
That's a nice sized ball. Where? On the lawn. Where we're going to by the bird. I was born in Africa. I'm an African. So what if I got a white skin? I'm an albino. If that's the way you want to put it. Since I got married, we've lived in a town, I think it was 3 months after we got married. And that's the only time we've ever lived in a town. I could never live like that. That's why I live here. I know if I come under attack here, believe me, there's going to be a lot more of them dead than me. I mean, look at my front door. I don't even have a lock on it. And I've lived like that for 4 years. And I've had nothing go missing, but I don't give the blacks trouble and they don't look for trouble.
Sometimes the people who have less resources have a more open experience and more realistic view of life than people who have the money to create the fences and the wires around them. So I think one has to be very careful about deciphering the code of conversation that one hears, and an educated way of viewing the world can be a better way of camouflaging those fears. It doesn't mean that they don't exist, but they may exist on a much more grand level than perhaps people who are living in the fires, they might say.
We got our own little thing here. I mean, it's us. Why make stress for yourself? I mean, I'm happy. I don't give a damn what they do next door. I don't give a damn what anybody thinks of me. I'm happy. If you're happy, then that's the way you got to be. But that's life. And if you're not happy with what you do for yourself, who's going to help you? We're at the bottom of the chain, yeah. We bottom dwellers at the moment, but I mean, I don't give a damn. As you can see, it's quiet. Nobody's giving me trouble. As my dad said, and a lot of other people have said, we were born with fuck all, and still got most of it left.
We live in separate worlds, in the same town. In standing in the same rows in the shop and in the bank and things. We are there physically together, but in our hearts, people are living in two different worlds. And I think this feeling of fear and crime and these things have increased a lot. People who are thinking that things are growing better and better and better, I don't agree with them. That's not what I really experience. Batu ki batu ka batu babangwe. A person is a person through other persons. You don't exist in isolation. White people think they can, but they're stupid to think that even. They're like my own people. When I'm with them, I forget that I'm white. I really forget it, especially when we sing. Living with people and sharing in their sorrows and in their joys. What type of crocodile would that be? He's part of the bunch. They're lying next to the river or the dam, the water, not fighting. I don't fight the other people.
This is an African fairy tale. I mean painting. You know, I'm not an African. Don't tell anybody. I've had to learn to love this country. I didn't want to come here. I had no choice. You don't have any choice when you're 2 years old, do you?
I'm tired of church services where people sit properly, they look like good, decent citizens and Christians, and during the week, their life is different. So I like to challenge people in the workshop, in the situation where they are swearing and they are getting angry with one another. But I do it with their agreement. My point of departure is if you've got love in your heart, you can't have fear. There is no fear in love, but perfect love drives out fear, because fear has to do with punishment, and the man who fears is not made perfect in love. I believe that, and I practice it. All right, you'll come back to me and say, but Pastor, you haven't experienced terrible, fearful things like some others. I know. But I would go so far as to say I know many people who have experienced fearful things, and I've seen this principle being confirmed in their life. It's not popular for an Afrikaans person to walk the road that I've walked. And I think I'm stupid. I'm wasting my life and I'm wasting my training. They would say to you, why don't you come to a white congregation? Pastors would say that to me. And on the other hand, there are people who appreciate what I do, but the general feeling is that, you know, you must stick to your own people. It's a very strong feeling.
We were definitely protected, so we decided on Psalm 91, and we made that big and we put it on the front door, and we said there's no way that they will ever come through that door again. It was as if I enter a dark place, they would come up, or that person would come up, and I'll just get the fear all over again. So even if I just want to go into a room, I can't get myself to just switch on the light. Just put in my hand, switch on the light, and then enter the room. I couldn't do that. I couldn't come close to that room. So that was a very big problem for me. If I do find myself in a dark place and I feel a bit overwhelmed, the idea that the light pushes away the darkness, that also gives you a sense, it's good to be trapped then within that light, to be inside of that. It's a safer parameter to be in than to be in the darkness and to be lost. We realize that fear can't play any role in your life. So that is the way that I've learned to cope with it. I've definitely come out a stronger person after the attack than I was before the attack. When we were attacked, my mother-in-law and father-in-law, their first instinct were immediately to praise God. They could have said, Lord, help us, take us out of the situation, don't let this happen to us. But instead of that, they just started praising God and thanking Him for how good He is and how great He is in their lives. At that point, I was not at that same religious point as they were. So I was crying and I was in fear, total fear that the lives of my children are in danger.
Yes. As we prayed, God said to you, but I was there. You could have been raped, you could have been killed, your family could have been wiped out, but I was there and I did protect you. Fear is like pouring a lot of blood and guts overboard, and all the sharks will come and feast on that fear. But faith is the opposite.
Now when it happens, if I go down a stair of steps and I face a darkness or anything, I still get that feeling that it pushes up and you can feel it's intimidating and it's not right and you don't know really how to handle it. I can't say that it won't happen to my children. I hope now, and I can pray that they will be, I can trust that they will be safe. But even if something bad had to happen, I hope that they won't do the same thing that I did. That they will go into that same state, that they would be in that relationship with God, to know that it's all right. You can praise God. Even if we had to die that night, it would be okay.
Lord, you are here on our side to minister and to comfort and to just pour out your mercy and your grace upon every victim. Oh God, you say in your word that we must heal the brokenhearted. And that's the desire of our hearts, is to touch lives and so that you can change the lives. Thank you, my Father. Thank you, my God. In Jesus' name, amen.
One of the guys that came there in the beginning when I got there, he says, you must feel at home. Even though you a white person among us, you at home. When I first got to the taxi rank, because the people didn't know me and they thought I could not speak their language, they passed by and just looking without coming to ask what I'm doing there. But gradually when they started realizing I do speak the language, they came to me to come and find out what I'm doing, what I'm selling. What does the products do? Can the products help them? They don't understand why I should be the only white person there, that there are not other white persons that come and sell their products there as well, because they say it'll be safe for anybody to come and sell there. On the long trips, they do get tired, and it's risky for the passengers. It's not safe for them if the taxi driver gets tired. So they use these products to stay alert and to be able to take their people to wherever they want safely. My people think I'm mad, me being a European among all the blacks there, that it's not safe for me. And I feel safer there than what I will be feeling in the center of Rustenburg, because I know the people will protect me there.
You know, we don't even drive in the areas where the local taxis are, because you're too scared that you would be hijacked, raped, killed, or just left for dead. So you are precautious because you know there are thieves there. You do feel scared when you're there. So when you say to me that this guy is selling products there and they're not doing anything to him, it's awesome.
I invite them to come and join me, to come and be with me for a day. But they say there's no ways they'll come down there. I don't know if it doesn't come from their parents' side to say that you have to be afraid of blacks because they will harm you if they ever get the chance. And I mean, at this stage, from my side, I don't know. I don't believe that. They don't want to speak where other people are together. They take you aside and they say, this is my problem, can you help me? Is there something I can use from the health products that you've got to assist me? And they definitely then come back to me and say, but whatever you said was going to happen with the products that I'll be using happened to me, and I'm so glad about it.
I don't think it's going to become better. If the government's not going to change and change everything and try to make it better, I'm telling you now, it's not going to become better. My fear is for my son growing up in South Africa, really. I know there's crime everywhere in the world, but if I could move to any other country, no, I wouldn't. I wouldn't.
With there's a lot of black people around us, she's very scared and very irritated sometimes, you know, of knowing what they could do, and you must be just awake just to just look the whole time. So she stays scared.
I think we are products of our own fate in a way, and we're products of our own destiny, and products of our own action. So, you know, it's an interaction between what we can control and what we can't control, what we're born with and what we create. And ultimately, I think the true gist of living is to be able to take responsibility for your own action and know who you are as best as you can through those interactions with the world around you. If those aren't your goals and you're constantly making excuses or blaming the other, blaming crime or blaming the outside environment for own shortcomings, well then I guess as a human being you're not going to get too far.
And I started getting some hard cramps or cramps in my chest, which, I mean, I thought nothing of it. The cramps started getting worse, and I sent the kids out of the bedroom, and basically I had a heart attack. The first time I went to the hospital with the first heart attack, they said to me it's an anxiety attack. When I went to the doctor the second time, heart tablets made me aggressive, and then they gave me a calmative, and then these tablets gave me headaches, and that's where I started with the grandpas. Grandpas is more of an addiction than anything else, I mean, but that was because of the heart medication. I don't know what's in the stuff, but I mean, I think to an extent it does keep you awake as well.
It's a terrible problem to stay awake. I'll most probably sit and read book until, say, 1, 2 o'clock, and then I won't be able to open my eyes at all. Before one day when I die, I really, my biggest dream is to go to Switzerland and see the snow on the mountains and hear the people speak and just talk to them. That's my dream in life. I don't think in Switzerland they got half the trouble what we've got here. I can just imagine them still sitting outside, sleeping with open doors, enjoy the open spaces on their farms and things like that. I can just imagine they doing it, and not like us in South Africa that's got to be behind closed doors or bars in front of the windows, because I think it's just like a jail.
I actually think we were talking to actually buy a holiday resort.
Yeah.
That was something that we were looking at.
Yeah, a holiday resort.
Because there you've still got new people coming in every day, so you get to meet new people and, hear different stories of their life and their areas and things like that. So that
and
was...
also enjoy it. I mean, more relaxed. I think change from security to a holiday resort, I think it will be a good change.
Take a decision that I'm going to ask God to help me love people whom I would normally not love. Help other people, help one another. I believe in that. I've given my life for that. And I still hope. Sometimes it's difficult to hope. But anyway, let's hope that as we go on, we'll come closer to one another. Because I think our problems can only be solved if we come together. I mean all the people of this country, all the different nations. Now, listen to all the political parties, and with that I close. It's very interesting. If you listen to them, they're all saying, one nation, one people. All of them are saying that. Join our party and we will be one. All the political parties are saying that. Because if you ask for whom all are fighting, they'll say, we are fighting for this group. The other will say, we are fighting for this group. I want to say, let's try and ask God to help us to take hands, really take hands from your side. I'm doing it from my side as best I can. But sometimes I feel so lonely. It seems as if there are so few people, and that bad feeling in this country. You know it. And I'm not talking of black and white only. Now I want to close with a song. You must give me a song, but I want a Tswana song, if you don't mind. Hakona yo Tswana lijeso, hakona yo Tswana naye. Hakona yo Tswana lijeso, hakona yo Tswana naye. Kamata mata.
We look at it from a point of view of animals actually being a part of man. You could say it's a part of a soul quality of man, if you know what that means. So what does a crocodile stand for? It's vicious and it's treacherous. So the only way, I suppose, that one could redeem it is if man redeems that quality, or mankind redeems that quality of treacherousness. Then one has to find a way to live with it. You know, it won't go away by itself. You can't run away from it. So in some way or other you live with it. I had one way of working with anxiety, and that was by telling myself a fairy tale backwards to overcome fear. You know, why must I be here? And what is the purpose of my being here? I always ask myself, you know, there must be a purpose in things. And, you know, and the only thing that really binds me to this country is the nature. And, you know, I have gained so much by being here, but I have never been able to really use it. And now I've got to find a way to use it. I don't know how. But maybe if I can really let it go, surely that which I have gained is not lost. And it is so when something dies, something new can grow out of it. You see, because you go through a death and then you go through a birth again. And therefore one can't hang on to things. One has to let go, and that's maybe the lesson I've had to learn.
So, we must know that there are different types of crocodiles. Some never evolve and live in fear, yet they are very good at surviving. Others make fear their friend and evolve in ways you cannot believe. And they are all crocodiles living in the same forest.
Little wings may sprout